Bună dimineața! A început Romanian Design Week și mă bucur foarte mult să mă aflu în această dimineață alături de Eduardo de la World Design Capital. Hello, Eduardo, and thank you for joining us.
No, thanks to you. Hi.
I know that it's your first time in Bucharest, and I hope you're enjoying Romanian Design Week. And I really want you to tell us a little bit more about what it means to be a World Design Capital, in terms of what it requires as a process to be admitted as a World Design Capital. And afterwards, maybe we'll talk a little bit about the program you're preparing for this year, because I'm sure many of our listeners are really interested in that as well. So welcome, first of all.
Thank you very much. First of all, also let me thank you to the organization, the entire organization of the Romanian Design Week for hosting us, but also to the Spanish Embassy in Bucharest and our Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the National Agency of International Cooperation and Development, because they are the ones showcasing the Spanish design all over the world, especially this year that Valencia is becoming like the hub of the entire Spanish design community in Valencia that we are, especially this year, that we are World Design Capital 2022. So coming back to your question about which are the requirements, what I'm going to tell you is which is our nature, mm-hmm. and what was the driving force behind Valencia being elected as World Design Capital 2022. We didn't know that we were making design for centuries. Or at least we knew, but we weren't really aware. If you take the map of the Valencia region, you will find that we have been like a powerhouse of exporting furniture, lighting, home textiles, tiles, ceramics, toys. I mean, every single consumer good that you could ever imagine. It has been traditionally produced in Valencia.
And how did you manage to acknowledge that, or to see that you're such an important region in Spain in terms of design production?
Because in fact we were the region with the highest percentage of exports in those fields. So we had already a very, very strong design community. Yeah. I mean, we had companies because we were exporting all those consumer goods, yes, to the rest of the world. Number two, we had designers, because those goods, those furnitures, those toys, those everything, it has to be designed by someone. So we also found that we have a huge creative community, and I mean, there was like a very solid base that there was a design community in Valencia. Just to start thinking that, of course, most of our designers, when most of the Spanish designers, when they were overseas, I mean, we were noticing that at least 60% of them, they were from Valencia or they were based in Valencia. So, there was this kind of feeling that we had a strong industry, we had a strong community of designers, and also we have this initiative of the National Design Awards every year. And if you take the list from the very early additions to the new ones, I mean, there were many of those laureates that they came from Valencia, from the Valencia region.
Is this also perhaps related to the academic ecosystem? Do you also have a huge or very important university that makes it possible for all these designers to appear?
Absolutely. I mean, we have a very strong ecosystem of design schools, either if it's in industrial design, like the Valencia Polytechnic, mm-hmm, University, or CEU San Pablo, or some others more specialized on fashion design, like Barreira, or any other. Well, of course, we have the superior, the superior art and design school of the city of Valencia, with a strong specialization on anything, even from graphic design to jewelry design, mm-hmm, to everything. So there was in the city and also in the Valencia region, even in provinces like Castellón, mm-hmm, where there is this super strong industry for tiles and ceramics. There is a cluster that brings together academy, industry, and talent. I mean, there was already a base. So.
And designers or from the, let's say, private sector, or was it an initiative designed by the public administration or the city hall?
It was like you said, bottom up.
Bottom
I mean,
up.
it was the industry and the people who were visiting, or the companies who were participating in trade shows, or the creatives that were traveling all over the world. At some point, they met in Mexico City during the year that Mexico City was the World Design Capital.
Yeah.
So they started to ask themselves, okay, why don't we apply? Because we really have companies exporting design. We have creative studios that are designing for projects all over the world, whether if it's in interiors or in architecture or making product design. So, I mean, let's give it a try. So it was bottom up.
I know, because we also were interested at one point in seeing what it would require to apply as a city. And I know that you need to have the public administration on board, and you need to have the city hall. It's basically the one that is allowed to apply in terms of requirements. So you manage basically to convince them that this is a good idea, or there was a pressure from the design community because it was obvious that you should have the title, and they were on board at one point.
Yeah, of course. One of the how can I say, of the criteria that led Valencia to become World Design Capital 2022 by the World Design Organization was that they saw that there was support from our local, municipal, and regional authorities, but also, and later on came our national government. Because honestly, Valencia World Design Capital 2022 is not a program of events. No, that is just the beginning. I think that's very important to stretch, because it's not only about the year itself, it's also about the preparation, the process, and also the legacy. As I told you before we were on air, Timișoara is going to be cultural capital next year, and I know that the process to apply and then to prepare, and then the legacy that will be left to the city is probably more important than the program itself. But I would also ask you about the program, because I'm sure there are a lot of people would like to come to Valencia this year. What are you preparing in terms of, let's say, this year program events, and let's say what becomes public to the broader audience? Yeah, of course. Let me a little bit just to precise something that I said before. As I said, we are not just a program of events. In terms to support this, the support that you need from the public authorities. In our case, World Design Capital Valencia 2022 is a tool for transformation, either the entire company and industry ecosystem, the academic ecosystem, the social ecosystem, and the cultural ecosystem. So for us, the starting point is going to be at the end of 2022, when we really want to see this process of change taking shape. So going back to your question about our program, we are in fact developing what is Spain's biggest monography about design on our history. So with 24/7 and 365 days a year of events nonstop from January to December, it's more than 150 projects, either on our own or in cooperation with World Design Capital, with World Design Organization. So those events that we co-prepare and with the World Design Organization are our signature events. There are 7. They have a very different nature, from an international conference to a gathering of international design weeks to small events about meeting all the cities that have been in the past design capitals. I mean, there is a myriad of events, I mean, each of everyone with a very specific nature. But apart from those events, those signature events that we are organizing with World Design Organization, we have, as I said, from round talks, exhibitions, conferences on our own, publications, gatherings, participations in international fairs. So everything makes up 150 projects that are divided into 6 theme areas, because those are the areas that our program is based. So number 1 is, for example, health, or how can design make people live healthy, or how can our cities be much healthier. Then number 2, sustainability, of course. So everything around sustainability and how can design improve our sustainability processes and our circular economies. And then there comes innovation and internationalization. This is the 3rd big area. Then we have also inclusivity and equality. How can we make cities for those citizens with special abilities? Or how can we improve also the well-being of our women? Because sometimes even cities are were not designed with women in mind. No, and then for all those 6 big areas. So our program of events and our 150 projects are based on our those 6 big theme areas around.
You were saying earlier that one of the perhaps objectives is to basically to use design as a tool to social innovation, to change, to urban development, and so on. What were the main challenges? What were the main challenges in terms of, networking, putting all these actors together? Because it is a construct that takes a lot of effort in order to facilitate it. And how was that process?
Yeah. As you said, it is not an easy task because, especially in Spain, such a creative country. And in fact, we consider that, of course, the World Design Capital is taking place in Valencia, but our reach is nationwide, meaning that although the event takes place in our city, we are showcasing all kinds of industries and designers and creative communities or studios from the rest of the country. We're just like the showcase, yes. the place where everything takes place, right? So number one, there was a myriad of people and institutions, whether it's schools or studios or professionals and companies, but also I have to say and I have to admit that the World Design Capital is a strong brand itself, so that people immediately helps to adhere partnerships, and in that sense it has not been, it takes time, but everybody has understood the importance of this transcendental year that is 2022, not only for the Valencia region but also for Spain as a whole, because this World Design Capital initiative, what it's doing is just projecting an image of Spain as a country of creativity, design and innovation. So it was in a certain way was not easy, but it is. We understood immediately. Even our national administrations have understood the importance of the event, and they are supporting us.
Because it's basically what it does. It generates a context and a reason for everybody to come together, and I think that might be very important. It's very important to have like a strong and very credible brand in order to get everyone on the table and to get them involved. And I think that's one of the biggest assets of this sort of titles that you get, because otherwise, of course, you already have a lot of creativity. Spain is well known for its design scene, but it's very important to have this, whether our festival, because the design weeks work just the same. You have this context that people basically are allowed and can come together and organize events and so on. And then being a design capital takes it to probably the next level on a national wide scene.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said is totally true. But we needed a sort of a legitimator. And exactly. The World Design Capital is an initiative that is organized or is in fact comes from the World Design Organization, which is the consultative body of designs in the United Nations. So it has a certain sort of level. So it is an international recognition. So it's a prestigious non-profit organization that really strives for design. So yes, it's a sort of a seal of legitimacy.
Exactly. You were saying earlier about the legacy of the event and what will happen after 2022, and I think it would be nice to understand what you're hoping to happen in the next years as a result of you being World Design Capital.
Well, I think my hopes and the hopes of everybody in the team, from our director and the rest, whether it's the communications department and the projects department, everyone, we really hope that this is just the beginning. Because in fact, World Design Capital Valencia is just the beginning. In fact, we are just trying to use or take advantage of this event to really raise awareness about how design can really change and can improve either the economic infrastructure and the cultural landscape or the innovation policies. From our administrations. So we really hope that this is just the beginning in which number one, we would have companies more and more interested on innovation and investing on innovation and research and development, because then this will mean that companies at a later stage will be more prosperous. Number two, we also want that citizens become also more aware of design, because a citizen with a certain sense of design would require better products and would require better decisions from the policymakers.
Exactly.
So
and better cities.
Better cities, more sustainable. So we also want to, one of the main purposes also of this project is to really take design from the pedestal and then bringing down for the population.
And translate it into what it actually means, because
Absolutely.
it's not only about aesthetics and
Absolutely.
the luxury part of it.
Absolutely.
It's rather a way of thinking and an instrument that can be used in any sort of
environment,
domain,
life,
and it's not related to a cool hipster audience. It's rather should be taken in by authorities, by
everything,
policymakers, and so on.
Everyone, just from the moment that we get up in the morning, we just open the door with a hinge. That is design. Then we just open the faucet to wash our face. That is design. So everything is design, in fact. So one of the main purposes is also to translate to the people and to the citizens that everything that is around us is design. So by having people more concerned about design, as I said before, would we create better, more prosperous companies, better decisions from our policymakers, more sustainable cities, more healthy food. So everything is about making people more conscious.
It's also about the quality of life and how can you increase it in the end?
Absolutely.
Even if it's in the urban spaces, or if it's in your own apartment, or if you're talking about clothes or anything. But in the end, it's about this quality of life.
Absolutely. And to be happier.
What didn't you manage to, not you personally, you as an organization, to do in this sort of world design capital? Was there any objective that you didn't manage to fulfill by now?
Well, in fact, I'm very proud of the program of events that we are bringing to the city. I mean, it's really, really very ambitious because, 150 projects in a city that and of course, another thing that we are very, very proud is the kind of international media attention that we have achieved so far. Editorials. I mean, Valencia is in everybody's mouth. And
that's very important.
Very important because it creates a very strong city image around creativity, innovation, and design. And then one of my hopes, and the hopes of everybody who is behind World Design Capital, is that Valencia would become a real hub for innovation, creativity, and design. We were already, but with a very big and strong international impression and
so when we'll think to apply for World Design Capital, we will definitely contact you, because you seem to have all the arguments in order to make the decision makers take this project on board. I don't know if Bucharest is in this moment ready to have such a title, but I think there is a lot of, let's say, creative energy that could be at least be part of the process and learn something from it, because I think that's also a very important step.
You have a huge pool of very talented people. The city is so alive and full of creativity. No, everything, and you have the spirit. And I please, of course, absolutely. This one of the another reasons that makes sense on this initiative of Valencia and promoting us around is that we also want to be like this example of how can a middle-sized city become such an important hub for innovation, creativity, and design.
Yeah, and you also have Madrid and Barcelona, so it's not like you're competing with big players on the design scene. So.
And in fact, we really want to show our example to other cities, whether if they are Mediterranean, because we have of course, we really want to retain our nature as of a Mediterranean city, but also it is also an example how a middle-sized city can also apply to become to make such an impact at international level in a specific field of innovation, creativity, and design, and also use Valencia or use another city as a showcase of the entire national industry. That is very important.
We will talk a little bit later, I think, about this Mediterranean heritage and how important it is to have a network of other partners in other countries which are perhaps cultural similar to yours. And I think Ana will also help us have a focus on that topic. I would like to thank you so much for telling us all the details, and I hope people will get more and more interested about the subject of Valencia and will come visit you hopefully this year. So thank you so much, and we'll continue the talk, inviting Ana to join us as well, to have a, let's say, a focus also on a certain creative practice, and we'll talk a little bit about the ceramic scene in Valencia region, but also perhaps about this Mediterranean heritage and link between different regions or countries. Thank you so much.
Thank you. No, thank you to you. And again, just thank you for the entire team behind the Romanian Design Week. You have been very precious and delightful with all of us. And thank you from our heart. Really, thank you very much.